From NBC News, Don Lemon arrested by federal authorities after protests at Minnesota church service. Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a Friday post on X that Lemon was arrested alongside 3 others in connection with the coordinated attacks on city's church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested by federal authorities on Thursday night in connection with a protest at a Minnesota church service earlier this month. Lemon, 59, and 3 other journalists, Tarheen Cruz, Georgia Fort, and Jamal Letty Lundy were arrested in connection with the coordinated attack on City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota. At least they called it an attack.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't just say, oh, they were there just trying to hand out coffee or something, you know. Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a post on X Friday. The ex-CNN anchor's attorney, Abe Lowell, said in a statement that Lemon was taken into custody by federal agents in Los Angeles where he was covering the Grammy Awards. I kind of think that's nice, too. They picked him up at the Grammys. There's something.
It should have been on the red carpet.
It would have been great, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would have been awesome.
Let's see. Instead of investigating the federal agents who killed 2 peaceful Minnesota protesters, the Trump Justice Department is devoting its time, attention, and resources to this arrest, and that is the real indictment of wrongdoing in this case, Lowell said. This unprecedented attack on the First Amendment and transparent attempt to distract attention from the many crises facing the administration will not stand. Actually, it will. What do you guys think? Is it a good thing that Don Lemon has been picked up or what?
I mean, I don't like the idea of like how we're having to decide who is and is not a journalist. Like the idea that like, oh, if it was Fox or CNN, then that would have been fine. And then, you know what I mean? Because Cam was kind of saying, you're like, you would have probably done the same thing. Something similar. Yeah. Probably not attacking like the...
Cam, would you have brought coffee?
Yeah. I would not have brought coffee to the protesters.
We did bring coffee to other people, but maybe save that for later.
Richie McGinnis always said, bring a White Claw and a cigarette and you get them to tell you anything.
Yeah, that's what, well, I started doing that. Richie told me that, and I started bringing cigarettes, and then they started just robbing me and stealing the cigarettes.
Okay, well, that's
not working. But I don't know. I could totally see, like, if I was there in this situation, I probably would have also gone into the church and filmed what they were doing. They broke into a hotel that they thought ICE was staying at, and I followed them in and filmed them breaking the windows. So, I mean, my purpose in there is different than Don Lemon's in that I'm attempting to film them breaking the law so that people can see what they're doing and maybe it can be used for criminal charges later. You made that point earlier, Phil, but
yeah, I didn't like it either. It made me nervous for all the people that I knew that have gone through this, like with the J6 stuff. Yeah. But I will say that Phil was making a good point. Like, he was an active participant in the actual protest, right? Like, his mission was to do that. He was bringing them things there. He knew what they were going to do. He was interviewing.
He kind of made himself the star.
And he was interviewing and aggravating the church members. He wasn't just
There was an exit interview where he said, the purpose of protest is to make people uncomfortable. That right there, whether he intended it or not, that is admission of guilt, because he said, I wanted to make people uncomfortable, or the purpose of the protest is to make people uncomfortable, and that's a violation of, I forget the name of the law. FACE Act. Yeah. That's a violation of the FACE Act, because if your intent is to make people uncomfortable, that's making people afraid.
I mean, you could be outside, maybe on the sidewalk. You could be on the sidewalk and you're 100% fine. Honestly, the issue is he went in during an active service and everybody was in there, and somehow he just happened to be the only reporter there with all the protesters, and this is the precedent.
That doesn't bother me. He was acting as an activist. Like, it was just the way he was behaving. If he was just there filming and not saying anything and not actively participating in the protest part, then I would be
he has a history of supporting the protesters.
Absolutely.
But like I said, even in active service going on, if they barged in there and I was there, which I probably would have been if I was awake at that time, but Kevin kept me up all night the night before, I would have barged in there
shots,
too.
right? Partying.
Yeah. So we were and we got on the scene like an hour later.
Yeah.
Everybody was gone. I tried to call the rectory to see if I could get a hold of this pastor, be like, hey, can we interview you? But what I'm saying is, like, we had the burning of Notre Dame in Paris, and then we had the trans shooter come in just last month, maybe 6 months ago. Like, okay, maybe they could protest out on the sidewalk, but then it's like the next step is like, oh, they're going to protest with guns.
And
then, you know what I mean?
I'm here for them doing the protesters
continue.
Getting in trouble for it. Sure, I'm just talking about if he's going in there as a journalist as opposed to an activist.
And there's something about the fact that it was a church, right? Like, obviously, like you're saying the hotel, but like the idea is like a church is different than a hotel.
Kevin, to your point, the fact that there have been so many attacks on Christians, and I say this, like, I'm agnostic. I'm not a religious guy. But even as a guy that's, technically an outsider, I can see that the goal of the left is to intimidate Christians. The way that just your general leftist will talk about Christians, will talk about people that have faith, as long as it's a Christian faith, Catholics, whatever it is, they have nothing but hostility for religious people, for Catholics, for Christians. They want nothing but to intimidate them. There was a guy talking after this the farmer guy. He was swearing up and down that they're
William
all
Kelly.
white supremacists,
Yeah.
just because they're Christians, just because they're in there and they're Christians. That is the intent was to scare them, because he looks at them as evil people for going to church.
You know what a good sign though is, Phil, is like when you know your career's in shambles when you have to be reduced to making fun of Jesus Christ. You know?
I mean, it's rough.
So it's I mean, famously, you know, everybody makes fun of Christ constantly, and you know, we can go there if y'all want, but you know, it's like, why is it just Christianity?
Because it's the only true thing. It's the only
What do
thing
you
they're
think?
really afraid
I
of.
mean, people got in trouble for making cartoons about Allah.
Well, I think
You
that it's
know?
because
trouble
of
is
I think that
yeah, there's a bit of trouble.
it's because it's the association. It's because it's the association with white people, right? It's Christianity is thought of as and it's actually wrong. There are way more people that are, you know, brown people or whatever you want to call them, that are Christians than there are white people. But here in Western countries,
they don't feel
in the
that way
United States,
about. They don't feel that way about like Scientologists
They
or
can-
Jesus
No,
or
but
Latter-day
but
Saints.
they
care that way about Christians because it's the
All
true
right, so
religion,
the mountain
and they're
Jews
actually
are the
afraid
mountain
of it,
Jews are
and
a
everything
whole
else is
different.
satanic.
I'm just saying,
the mountain Jews
too.
are a whole different.
The mountain
topic.
Jews?
The mountain Jews. Church of Latter-day
I
Saints.
mean, their reasoning was that the pastor himself was pro-ICE, or he had a
No,
relative
he worked
that,
for it. No, the
that
pastor,
was an ICE
it
agent,
was,
right?
No, the pastor was literally like a deputy field director of ICE.
So there was some credence to it, but I'm just saying, if
Just wait on the sidewalk.
yeah,
Like, he has to walk
and
out.
if you're going to go in and protest, like, you know, try that in a small town. But like, if you come into a Catholic church, like, those ushers are strapped. Like, and you've seen that, like in Texas, like people trying to disrupt mass and they just get shot. So, fair warning.
I can see myself in that situation though. Like, if they would have all just barged in there during a service, especially during a service, I would have been like, all right, it's game on. And I would have gone in there and filmed every second of it from 5 different angles. Because A, you're showing how bad these people are, and B, you're creating evidence. And that's obviously not Don Lemon's purpose. But if they can put him in jail for it, what's to stop the next administration from putting me in jail for it?
This is something that we talk about a lot. There is nothing to stop the next administration from doing anything.
Sure.
Right? So anything you can imagine. So conservatives should not say we're not going to do this because it sets a bad precedent, because the left has already decided. You can hear it all the time from people that are running for office. They've already decided that the people on the right, MAGA, whatever, however you want to call it, that they're all guilty, and it is time for Nuremberg trials. They're talking about throwing ICE agents in jail just for being ICE agents and doing enforcing laws that were passed in a bipartisan manner, right? Because there's no new laws about whether or not illegals can stay in the United States, right? If you're here illegally, all these laws about illegal aliens, they were passed with Democrats' help. So these are the same laws that have been on the books for 20 years or whatever, and now people are saying, oh, well, these ICE agents, they're the Gestapo, and we're going to throw them in jail and stuff. So the idea that, oh, we shouldn't do this because it sets a bad precedent, it doesn't matter what the right does to the left, because the left is going to do
They're
it
gonna do it
anyway.
to
But does
Yeah.
that mean that we should give them ideas though? Because another
Yes.
thing is like,
I'm sorry, Cam. Okay.
You're really talking his book up right now.
I go and like film at like some of Jake Lang's events, right? And he's crazy.
But how
And
much
I
are you
don't
including
align with them, I don't
yourself
support
in
it.
this versus just documenting it? Like, because the thing is like,
Oh,
you know,
we're not-
We're not,
not-
we're
not
not,
at
we're
all.
not affiliated with
I'm
him.
behind
no,
the camera
but that's what I'm
on the
saying. You're behind the camera, so
Yeah.
like there is
Most of the
obviously
time.
a difference between Don Lemon being like, I'm like the star of this show, and very much like making.
And he
research
mentioned
about
the
this.
parking lot. He said it was a secret location. He was talking about what they were doing and how he was.
Yeah.
It wasn't announced. Yeah.
Yeah, like it wasn't like something he stumbled upon as Cam would or something
is
like
true.
I get that.
There-
The other thing though is like they are going to do it to us, and I want to see their people locked up, so I don't really care anymore. They don't play by the rules, so why should we?
Well, they don't play by the rules, but the rules that they have in
still don't
place
like
are
it.
sanctuary city policies. This was in St. Paul, Minneapolis, right over the river, and we see that with illegal immigrants, just catch and release. And I don't know if this is breaking or not, if y'all saw this, but there's reports saying 2 hours ago that Don Lemon has already been released without bail.
Yeah, but he's still.
Yeah, 'cause he's not a threat to the community. It's not like he's going to go
he's
shoot
not
anything
a
up.
flight risk, probably. Like, I'm sure that he still has to
hard
go
for him to
face
hide.
these
He's
charges.
Don
Yeah.
Lemon.
Looks good though, huh? For 59.
So
He does,
he'll
does.
probably be making a statement shortly
I
about
thought he looked ghoulish, to be honest. Last time I saw him.
Maybe it's on
Cam,
film.
the stuff that you uncovered with the signal chats and stuff, right? I don't understand why you feel like the left needs the right to come up with ideas. Or is that really what you're saying, or is
And
it
real
just
quick,
kind
they
of
already
like?
put Steve
No, I'm
Deace.
just
They did it
kinda-
to Steve Deace. They've done it to how many other people? Like they've
Yeah.
done it to a
kinda-
lot of
so-
reporters already on our
I'm
side.
kind of just playing like devil's advocate a
I
little
was
bit.
too.
I do kind of like with the Lemon arrest. I'm kind of like this. Like I'm
Me
not
too.
really sure. How
Well,
I
because you
feel
see
about
how
it.
it can kind
Because
of.
I see how it could be sideways. I see how I could get myself in that situation. And also, like, I do think the First Amendment is very important. We should try to preserve it, and we shouldn't stoop to their level. But, yeah, no, I mean, you're right. They're extremely coordinated. To be honest, if they wanted to get me, they'd probably just put a bullet in my head. So, I mean, they threaten to do it every day.
that's pretty much why we had to get out of there. 'cause
Yeah, and
they were tracking us.
So that's why I don't find the argument "don't give the left ideas" compelling. They've already got they've been in contact with international terrorist organizations. All of these all the stuff that they're doing, all the procedures, the OPSEC, all that stuff they've learned from from color revolutions. It's likely that there are people that used to be in the CIA that either left because of this administration or because of ideological differences that are working with them, because all the stuff that they're doing, this is textbook color revolution stuff, to incite chaos in a country. That's the kind of stuff that CIA has been doing for ages. And the OPSEC that they have, until you basically got into their signal chat, like, they have a vast network in the United States. So I don't think the idea of, hey, don't do this because the left will do it to us, I don't find that compelling. I think
but
that they're going to do it.
as a
think,
good person, though, you can feel uneasy about it. You can feel like this doesn't feel right to me. You can still support it, but you can still kind
feel
of
that.
feel. I do.
will not.
Listen, I'm usually more hammer hard than you are, right? Like stomp on them all. I'm watching my language, okay? But my point is, like, you can still feel uneasy about it, like, I don't want to see this happen to my friends or myself, and that's what I'm saying.
I also don't like to contradict myself too, right? Like, if you contradict yourself, it seems like you probably don't have any principles, and then it kind of breaks down. And if I hold a principle for myself, I think that principle I should hold for other people as well.
Absolutely.
And I don't want to end up valueless. By the way, I also found like a really hidden document today, like deep in the signal chats, that I have not found yet, but is very obviously old. It's not old in like years old, but like when the signal network started up. It's instructions for their dispatchers, where they openly talk about fighting the federal occupation.
Yeah.
They talk about creating, escalating the situations and creating what they call flashpoints. It's instructions for their dispatchers. So you show up to where the federal agents are operating, you create flashpoints. And the flashpoints they describe as pretty much organized chaos or intentionally brought upon chaos, where they can achieve goals like de-arresting, saving what they call abductees, obviously illegal immigrants being detained, or potentially even get their comrades killed as martyrs.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And they acknowledge
Yeah.
it's all in like plain text.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
It's on my Twitter right now.
Yeah, I mean,
it works.
Just that's at
Yeah.
Cam Higby, by the way. It does work, and the fact of the matter is the idea of martyrs, like, this is all stuff that I don't have any evidence of this, but I've heard a lot of chatter that people on the left had gone to Gaza and worked with the terrorist organizations over there, learned their procedures and stuff. That is something that is extremely valuable. Both Renee Good and Alan Petty, both of them were one of the best.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was a gift to them, to the left.
I mean, they didn't even need to
It's
go
fu-
there. They
it's
could just
fu-
watch the Israel-Palestine stuff for the last
you know
2
what's
years
gonna
and just
happen,
see.
too? What's her name? Got run over by the bulldozer. A couple, it was a long time ago, but
Oh yeah.
she's from Seattle.
Gaza,
I
yeah.
forget her name. I can't remember. It's not coming to me. But anyway, she was obviously over there working with NGOs
Yep.
and different Palestinian groups, and her whole thing was all day she just sat in front of a bulldozer, and then she laid down in front of the bulldozer, and the bulldozer driver had been dodging her all day, trying not to kill her, but she laid down in front of the plow and got run over by a military grade bulldozer.
Yep.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. I mean,
well, you say she's an idiot, but if that's what she was going for,
Unless that-
like if she
yeah,
was like,
right,
I'm
that
trying to
very
get
well
run
could-
over by
yes.
a bulldozer.
Exactly.
and there's no shortage of people that'll give up their life for this kind of stuff. Remember that kid from, or that kid that was in the military that set himself on fire?
Right.
I forget what his name was, but like, and I probably wouldn't say it anyways. But you know, his last words were "Free Palestine, free Palestine." What does that kid have? What connection does he have with Palestine? None.
Exactly. And these people become like they're like guys now. It's always I can't remember his name either, but it's always like, remember this guy, you know, and it's the photo of him or like a comic book version of him burning, or it's you know, Luigi Mangione. This is our guy now. Somebody needs a Luigi Bovino. They're saying that all over the place now on TikTok.
Yep.
I wanted to add too, though, is like, it's funny because these activists do these things, but why? Right? Like we're talking First Amendment, though. It's like you have the freedom of expression to protest whatever, but we're also protected for freedom of religion.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's funny because they want to make saints out of Renee Good and martyrs out of Alex Pretty, but do you even really know what you're saying? Like what that word means?
No.
Or do they care? And if we're up, okay, so we're up against woke liberals that are probably white, whatever. And then, you know, these immigrants coming in, Somalians, whatnot, mostly Muslim, right? What's their credo? Is like crush the infidel. They don't care.
Yep.
Like that's where assimilation comes in. Like we want to be Americans. We want them to be Americans with us.
Yeah.
And even if we show them respect for what they want to do, it's like they just don't care.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the idea that you can take people from a different culture that have different values and insert them into the United States, and they're just going to become Americans.
Well, I mean, to be fair, America's
I'm Canadian.
You're Americans. You guys are Americans.
Most of the countries they're coming from are I don't know if the word like homogeneously, like it's a nation that has its own religion.
Yeah.
And they're not just simply not used to a nation with diverse religions.
Yeah, I mean, Bronco was on this morning on the Culture War, and I heard him talking about, you only need 10% of a population to be a low trust group of people, and everybody has to behave as if the whole society's low trust.
Yeah, basically.
It's like you can't have people that are looking to game the system. The whole point that they're in your country is to game the system and expect everybody to continue to act the way that a high trust society does.
I will say it was weird though. I looked at when the DHS put up the WOW.DHS, like where they were basically listing all the people deported. It was way more Laotian people than Somalis in Minnesota. I would have expected. I was like, Laotian people are causing ruckus.
Where's that? Vietnam?
No, Laos.
Oh, Laos.
It's in Southeast Asia.
There's a communist country.
Yeah, but it was so weird where like you go through the list and you're like, they're deporting like way more Laotian people.
I don't understand why we accept communists into the United States at all. Like,
bring back McCarthyism.
Yes,
Let's go.
McCarthy was right. He didn't go far enough.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.